Join me for some of the latest interesting news here in the Philippines. First off, in regards to the American who was kidnapped, the kidnapper's child gives info on Eastman case. Basically, this is November 5th, 2024. Basically, there is no more information, but everybody's going to want to hear just a little bit. A child of one of the suspects, principal suspects in the case, of American national Elliot Onol Eastman has provided information about the kidnapping that occurred in Zamboanga del Norte more than 2 weeks ago. Brigadier General spokesperson for the Philippine National Police said the information included details from the time Eastman was taken from the house of his parents-in-law in Barangay Poblacion to the victim's transport in a motorized boat. The information is still subject to verification, therefore they're not putting much out. They're still subject to validation as the information was reportedly relayed to the child by one of the principal suspects. The child reportedly told authorities that the white motorized boat used to transport Eastman was repainted to avoid detection. Fajardo said probers interviewed the child hoping they could obtain tips on the whereabouts of Eastman and the kidnappers. She said probers are considering several motives of the kidnapping, including ransom. You know, there's a debate in the comment section. It wasn't a kidnapping. Literal kidnapping technically means such and such and such. Well, all the news and the police are calling it a kidnapping. So we will use that term and let the comments continue. Top story on the paper: Marcy gains strength as it nears typhoon category. This is the Philippines here. This is our new tropical storm, and it is projected to become. I'll show the weather maps and the track here a little bit later. Is projected to it might just clip the northern end of Luzon, this large Luzon island. Boy, the last thing we need is more rain up there. They've had rain and rain and rain and flooded a lot of areas, even down here in Bacol area, even though one of the last typhoons, tropical storms severe tropical storms went up this way. It dumped a lot of rain, especially in the Bacol region down here, flooded many communities. One of my subscribers lost many cars, as well as flooded his house up to 6 feet deep, I think he said. And I'm down here in Cebu, this long, narrow island, Cebu Island. But even these long bands, look at these bands, how they stretch out. They affect much of the Philippines. And yeah, we went through about 10 days actually, but 7 or 8 days in particular, where we had higher than average wind down here, even though the severe tropical storm was way up here, hundreds of kilometers, miles away from where we were. The outer bands were reaching. It says it has intensified and is set to become a typhoon on Tuesday, which is today. And here's just a little bit more recent. It's off of Bacol region down here, but it is traveling northwest up towards this area, depending upon a number of different forces. It could drop down a little further south, or it could go a little further north. More in depth on this a little bit later in the video with the track. Another interesting story: 23 nabbed over Antolo club takeover. And you know, that type of thing has happened occasionally over the years that I've been here in the Philippines, where a group of people will kind of take over and try to take over an area, and they will have armed guards that'll come in and say, okay, we're in charge now. Anyway, this was a club, and Antolo is up in the foothills east of the Manila metropolitan area. I've got a subscriber that lives up there, and he likes the area. They were talking about putting in some of the I think the congressional buildings up in that area. Not sure if that's gone forward or not. But anyway, interesting story. 23 people have been arrested after they allegedly tried to take over a private club in Antipolo, Rizal. Police reported the suspects posed as customers in order to gain entry into the Cloud9 Sports and Leisure Club. along Sumolong Highway Thursday afternoon. The suspects arrived in 3 vehicles at the establishment past 5 p.m. Police said the suspects proceeded to the club's chapel, changed into uniforms of security guards, and tried to take control of the establishment. The suspects reportedly identified themselves as security guards of the Northern Eyes Security Agency Corp. Reports said one of the suspects told people at the club that a realty company sent them to protect the property. He, however, failed to present documents. A key issue in taking over property is having proper documents. One of the club owners, Potenciano Malvar, 83, sought the help of the police, who disarmed and arrested the suspects. Manango Godot said the certain Antolo Pilipal, 54, reportedly operations officer of the security agency, and 22 others would be charged with trespassing, usurpation, coercion, and violation of Republic Act 10591, or the Comprehensive Firearms and Ammunition Act. Kind of in that same line of thought, this story from the Freeman. Here it's focused on Cebu. Against 7 who padlocked school. Private individuals came and padlocked a school, Lapu-Lapu, in Lapu-Lapu City on Mactan Island, and the government is going to file raps. 7 individuals caught on closed-circuit television cameras padlocking the gates of Abuno Elementary School will face criminal charges of grave coercion and illegal detention. There was actually a female security agent that was locked inside. They asked her if she wanted to come out, and she said, "No, I'm on duty. I can't leave the property." So they padlocked her in, and somebody had to break a lock later to let her out after her shift was over, I guess. Anyway, Lapu-Lapu Department of Education, Lapu-Lapu City Division assessed yesterday the consequences of actions taken by the heirs of Marciano Alegres, who have contested their rights over the property where the school is standing. And I've read a little bit about that. Basically, they say that land is theirs. The school it's not government, and the government is saying, we have documents saying it was donated to us. And what the problem with property happens, especially as highlighted here, is did the individual who donated the property have 100% rights to that property, or, as often is the case, there are many relatives that own partials or a percentage of that property as well, and that person may not have the right to do anything without getting the approval of everybody else. The footage showed the individuals arriving at the school premises 9:37 in the morning last Friday, locking the 3 gates of the school. The lady guard who was on duty inside the school was locked in for 8 hours and was only able to go out when barangay officials destroyed the lock on the inside gate. I think I would have crawled over the fence. Maybe it's not quite as easy as that. To recall, the heirs of Alegres are claiming that the 1-hectare lot where the school is constructed is their private property, which is why they padlocked it last November 1. After their communication with the Lapu-Lapu city government on the matter have allegedly been ignored. And they claim they've sent a number of letters and nobody replied, and they said this is their way of getting attention. On the other hand, the legal department has said we actually did meet with representatives of this group, and so anyway, Lapu-Lapu city government has in its possession a deed of donation which was notarized in 1966. Not too long ago, quite a number of months ago, but there's a debate, and I think the Supreme Court actually there's territory, there's land down by the piers, I think, like to the south of Pier 1, that I think Cebu City claims it's theirs, and the maritime agency, something, they claim that they have the rights to that land. Supreme Court said that this maritime agency had the rights to it, and I think Cebu City, along with which one of the big developers were planning on develop it and in a certain way. And anyway, this group went in and they put the maritime group. I think they put fences up and started doing construction. I think the construction is ongoing. They're building another pier down there, I believe. I don't have that news story right in front of me, but as I recall, the city sent policemen, several policemen down there to take down the fence and take over the property. And then the courts or something said, no, you can't. They kicked them out and said the maritime agency owns that property. So there's been ongoing feud there and doing that type of thing. Just in this case, it was government agencies disputing the ownership of property. And a couple of years ago, I think over in Mandaue, I believe, down by one of the bridges going over to Mactan Island, a group of people came in, and it is government land, but they armed security agents came in, and I think whoever had hired them had wanted to secure the area and build something in that area. And eventually it came to the attention of government leaders who sent police in there and said, you can't take over government property and build whatever you want. You have to go through special processes. So these kind of things, they could happen any place in the world, but a little more common here, I guess, especially because property titles to land are, such a difficult thing here, because a lot of the records over the years have not been kept very well, and there are many family members, not just one person that owns a parcel of land, but many family members. So one person in that family cannot go off and sell it, donate it without the acceptance of everybody else. Another interesting story: no permit, no caroling policy in Cebu City. And let's go down here. Cebu City government has warned the public against giving money or goods to street carolers this Christmas season, or end up paying 1,000 peso penalty, a little less than $20 US at today's exchange rate. A penalty and rendering community service for violation of the anti-mendicancy ordinance. So yeah, not one or the other, but to pay the penalty and render community service. Mayor Garcia said the city government is strictly implementing the city ordinance 1361, which prohibits street caroling. And that's very common. That's very common for carolers to go around. They'll come up to jeepneys and sing or bang on some pan or something, try to make some music and hope to get a few pesos donation. Garcia said the city's anti-mendicancy board will be strictly implementing the no permit, no caroling policy. Garcia said those who desire to conduct a caroling activity for fundraising may have to secure a permit first. A caroling permit can be secured online through the Business Permit Licensing Office. The mayor said the public should be vigilant of the visible indicators between legitimate carolers and those who are. Wonder how you tell the difference. Do you ask them for their permit paper? Caroling in PUVs is prohibited. PUV passengers will be caught extending alms to carolers will also be issued a citation ticket. I've been in, I don't ride jeepneys often, but in past years I have been in jeepneys. The people will come, they'll be wandering through the traffic lanes, and if you're at a stoplight, they will either come in or jump on or play some music outside or even inside of the the thing, hoping to get a few pesos. Another interesting story, sardine rush captured on video. I've seen a couple of videos. My girlfriend sent me a couple of videos over on Mole Bowl, which is a very popular tourist destination. They've got what's called sardine runs, and yeah, you can go just a little ways offshore. You don't have to scuba dive. You can just snorkel out there. Millions upon millions of sardines out there, just as the water gets a little deeper. And you can rent life jackets and snorkel outfits to go out there and look around, and you might see a sea turtle as well. Anyway, a crowd flocked to Panagsma Beach in Barangay. I always have difficulty with some of these names. In Barangay Basdayat, in the southwestern town of Mole Bowl, Cebu, on Sunday morning, November 3rd, after hundreds of Indian oil sardine, locally known as toloi, swam frantically toward the shoreline. The natural phenomenon of shoals of toloi rushing to the shallow waters in large numbers is referred to as a sardine rush. The event, which was captured on video by a local resident, is not unique and is usually occurs in September, October, and November. People go out there with their nets and pails and capture as many as they can. Interesting. Who has been to a smelt run in the USA? I have not. I've eaten the smelt fish, but I've never been involved in the that project. Here is 3 sites with more weather and typhoon information for those that's still interested. Jumping over to the government agency site called pagasa.dost.gov.ph, Pagasa, they are the government agency that tracks weather here in the Philippines. A number of different things you can look up here, and interesting site. Anyway, let's go over here to they've got some forecasts down here, additional stuff. Manila, this for Manila. You can plug in a different city if you would like, and let's expand the map. Last thing we need here in the Philippines right now, especially that part of the Philippines, northern Luzon. This is the Philippines, and this is Palawan, an island of the Philippines. And this red box here is the what's called the Philippine Area of Responsibility. Now, if you are flying across that line, or you're on a ship and you cross that line, you will not see the line. It's just a man-made drawing on a map, and it is Philippine Area of Responsibility. So don't be looking out your window looking for that red line as you fly across the Pacific. The international agencies, they have a name. They name, if it turns into a storm out here, they name this storm. And in this case, they named it Yinzing, I think. Yinzing, if I pronounce that right, in parentheses. And when it crosses that line, went from here's your schedule down here, went from a depression, tropical depression, to a tropical storm, tropical storm, and severe tropical storm here, and typhoon here. They've have it as a typhoon before it reaches the Philippines. Philippines changes the name, and they change the name to, in this case, Marcy. Each one has a different name. Marcy is the name here. The last thing we need is another typhoon, but anyway, like 2 or 3 typhoons back. Actually, that past one never even turned into a typhoon. You don't need a typhoon to do major damage. And it spread out. We were affected for many days with down here in Cebu City, down here, very much higher than average winds for several days, and rain off and on as rain bands came through. And it went through just the north tip, just like this one is going to do. I think it actually came in a little further south. Another site I really like, I'll show you a couple more sites that you can use around the world. Windy.com. I've talked about this before. My favorite weather app. You can download apps on your Apple or Android phone, and they put out just a ton of information here. Windy.com. And it's for free. I pay for the premium, and I get longer forecasts. I think I can look back in time at certain things. A number of perks for paying. I don't know, 20 some dollars a year. Weather radar, you can see the storm here, weather radar, so you're keying in on where it's raining, I guess. Satellite imagery, you can see the circulation here. So up here in the menu section, let's go hurricane tracker. There's 4 hurricanes in the world right now, or cyclones. And you've got this one in Rafael, tropical storm in the Gulf of Mexico, or nearing the Gulf of Mexico. Uh, this one over off the coast of Gibraltar, looks like. Morocco, Spain area, tropical depression. Yinzing here in the Philippines, 80 miles per hour wind speed. They don't give us the pressure. You've got different tracks over here that you can follow, updated 5 hours ago, and you got a tropical depression off the west coast of looks like Mexico. Mexico, U.S. will affect the U.S. probably. So here we are. It shows the track. It shows the track that they have tomorrow at 5 a.m. 78 miles per hour. As it gets closer to northern Luzon from Friday, 89 miles per hour. Just see what they have over here in the U.S. What they have this thing doing over here in the U.S. They have it tracking up towards New Orleans. Another site that many of you may be interested in, if you're interested in tracking weather, weathernerds.org. And just a ton of information here you can get over most of the world, I think. Probably all of the world as well. Anyway, let's go down here, and we're getting looking at the Philippines again, and you can get different color schemes. I'm on color enhanced. Data type, you can get visible. Let's try IR once. Infrared imagery. See what it gives us. Internet connection this morning is a little bit slow. It's a learning experience. So those 3 sites are worth checking out if you're interested in weather and storms. Windy.com, Weather Nerds, and for the Philippines in particular, Pagasa. Anyway, thanks for coming along. Stay safe, safe travels, and I'll see you next time.